It is our pleasure to be joined by the only, yes, only back-to-back winner in LIV Golf history. The pride of Carl Albert is in the house. Talor Gooch, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? How y'all doing?
Pretty good. I mean,
Good, but
not
it's all
as
relative, right? That's about to say.
I was about to say.
We're not on the roll like you are, man.
How how are you feeling about your game, man? Let's just start there. You win in Australia, you win in Singapore. There's a healthy check that comes with both of those wins, and you guys getting the team win as well. Like, just how are you feeling about your golf game right now? You're kind of on you're not kind of you're on a heater, dude.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, hey, it winning, like I keep saying, winning in professional golf on any tour at any level is challenging, and then to do it back to back is just it's even that much more difficult. So to have the back to back weeks like that is, man, that's why you spend the extra time, practicing. That's why, you get up at 6 a.m. for workouts. That's why you put all the extra time in is for, those moments, those weeks like these last two. And so, man, it makes all the sacrifice, all the time spent, it makes it worth it.
I gotta imagine too, like the momentum you get on the course whenever your confidence is sky high. You're walking taller, you trust your game, you're trusting your swing, it's gotta, I mean, in the zone, I guess is the way you would put it. It's gotta just feel a little bit different when everything's working, right?
Yeah, it's just like any sport, momentum is crucial. And so when you get some momentum going your way, you try to ride that wave, because it's awesome. It feels great. And on the other end, when it doesn't feel good, how much that sucks. So you try to relish the wave and try to just ride it as long as you can. And again, like I said, that's why we put all the time in, man. And that's why we work hard so that we can get things going our way and take advantage of the momentum when it's going your way.
So you guys, you've got the live event in Tulsa coming up, right, at Cedar Ridge. Just how excited are you to have one of the tour's events in your home state?
Man, it truly is like a dream come true. Growing up in Oklahoma, there occasionally there was a major championship, which is awesome, but there was never a PGA Tour event. There was never like a consistent, there's always going to be this professional golf tournament here at, year after year. And us Oklahomans, we love our sports, and so I'm pumped for Oklahoma in general to be able to have this tournament, and for Oklahomans and fans, golf fans, sports fans, fans in general to be able to come out and get to watch and experience some of the best athletes in the world at their craft. And we have within LIV, man, we have some of the game's greats right now. We've had some of the game's greats for the last 10, 20 years. It's truly a really elite collection of golfers. And I'm glad mostly everyone here in Oklahoma is going to have the chance to go see what LIV Golf is all about, as opposed to hearing about it and seeing what all of these different media outlets have to say about it. So it's going to be great, man. I'm so pumped and excited.
It, I wonder if there's some pressure, because I know for like Gabe and I, if 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 you're ever like hosting something where like NFL guys or guys you played with are coming into Oklahoma, there's like pressure to make sure everyone has the right place to eat, everyone has a good time. Are people hitting you up with where they need to go, what they need to do, and you trying to get everyone lined up for the away from the course stuff?
Yeah, I've had a lot of questions of where, like I said, where to eat, what to do. People kind of associate Oklahoma with what do you do in Oklahoma, and
Right.
so definitely it's an opportunity to kind of extinguish those narratives of Oklahoma is boring, if you will. And so I'm excited for the players to be here. I'm excited for, the Sergio Garcias and the Lee Westwoods and the Hendrick Stinsons and the Cam Smiths and all these guys from all over the world. I'm excited for them to see what Oklahoma's about, to see how Oklahoma sports fans are, to see the passion and the excitement and the energy and all of it, man. So yeah, I mean, I could go on and on about every aspect of it that I'm excited about.
So you mentioned that, you know, you're hoping that there can be a consistent event right here in the state with LIV Golf. Would it always be in Tulsa, or can we get some Oklahoma City action, man? Are you trying to swing things that way, have it in the hometown?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Oklahoma City, that would be ideal. I mean, there's never been really a top tier professional golf event, you know, at least in my lifetime, you know, aside from, you know, Oak Tree's had a senior open back in like 14 or something like that. But yeah, I mean, that would be the ultimate goal for me, is to sleep in my own bed while I get to go play a professional golf tournament. I mean, that's just what could beat that, you know, and especially obviously going to have tons of family and friends coming up to Tulsa, but having it here where I really am from and where all my, you know, family and friends are, like that would be the ultimate. And I'm definitely going to be working hard to make that happen. We kind of had a decent chance this last fall of getting one here this year in Oklahoma City, and it didn't quite work out. So there's some foundation paved for the talks of that, and you know, I'm hoping it's a great week for the fans, for the players, for LIV in general in Tulsa, so that we can, you know, again, convince everyone, hey, we got to make this a staple.
Yeah. I feel like there's, and I don't know if you guys have metrics or how you keep up with it or anything, but you know, obviously there's been the controversy around the LIV Golf and stuff, but I don't know. It feels like to me, you guys have some good momentum right now. Like there's been some good stuff going on, like the viewership and all of that, like the news that's constantly out there about the different stuff that's going on. Feels like you guys are in a good place.
Yeah, man, it's been a good couple months. You know, obviously we all knew when we were, you know, taking this new venture on, there was going to be pushback. It was going to take time. You know, the establishment was not liking still does not like what we're doing. And so, you know, just like anything, when you got big business involved and you have a long-standing corporation, the establishment that has had their way for a long time, and now things are being shaken up, there's going to be a lot of pushback and challenges with that. So, you know, listen, at the end of the day, fans want to see the best of the best, right? You know, in basketball, you want to see, you know, LeBron James, Damian Lillard, you know, Anthony Davis, and so on and so forth. You want to see those guys play. You know, that's why, you know, if you get a Thunder ticket to, you know, have someone come in like, you know, the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis isn't playing, it's a little bit disappointing, you know, and so that's as you guys know, like the talent, the best in the world is the driving factor. And at the end of the day, it's like my buddies say, you know, what we're doing is not heart surgery. Like it's not life or death. It's entertainment, you know, and we put our heart and sweat and soul into it to be the best that we can. But at the end of the day, dude, this is entertainment. And so, you know, we gotta get past, you know, the whole you know, how do I put this? Like making it bigger than what it is. Like this is just a game, you know, and I'm so blessed and fortunate to get to play a game, and that's how I pay my bills. And there's people that come out and watch it. And so with that being said, like I was just saying, I could go down a whole list of names of some of the greatest, you know, of my generation that are playing on LIV, and, you know, not only guys, you know, that, you know, as the media keeps trying to push, of a bunch of, you know, has-beens like Cam Smith was the number one, number two, whatever player in the world in the last year. You know, you have Joaquin Neiman, one of the greatest players in the world. You have Abe Answer, you know, you have Brooks Koepka, Dustin, you know, you have such an elite list of players that have been and still are some of the best in the world. And so, you know, that, hey, I call it the rule 67. You go shoot 67, you know, you go perform, that's going to extinguish a lot of narratives. And that's what, you know, happened at Augusta. And that's what, you know, continues to happen as we play more and more great golf.
It's interesting that you mentioned what happened at the Masters, right? With what Phil did on Sunday, with how Brooks played, even, with how you played, right? Making the cut, finishing in what was it, top 35 or so?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How important was that performance that a lot of the LIV guys had, the way that they played at the Masters? How important was that for kind of the public perception of the tour? Because people are like, oh, these guys haven't been playing really difficult courses. They won't be ready. Their games won't be, in the right place. And that just wasn't the case.
Yeah. We all know within LIV, like how good the competition is. We know how great our field is week in and week out. And, unfortunately, the media can sway a lot of opinions. Right. And so, when the establishment is got the media in their pocket and they're pushing narratives to try to illegitimize the quality of golf that is being played week in and week out at our events, it's going to take weeks like Augusta for people to see what is happening rather than hearing what's being said. And so that was great for the public perception. It was by no means surprising to us because we know how good all these guys are. But like you said, public perception, unfortunately, is still very important in a lot of ways. And so that was a big week to start, again, extinguishing some narratives that just aren't true, that, they're only playing 54 holes. They're not gonna be able to play 72 holes. And they're not playing championship style golf courses and, all the BS. So, every sport deals with some media controversies and some media narratives and all that. Golf has not dealt with it as much as a lot of other sports. And now we've been thrown into the fire and dealing with it more than any sport probably. And so, Augusta was great for that, for the public perception. And again, it's just going to take time, and eventually, conventional wisdom and reasonable minds will eventually prevail. And so weeks like Augusta helps that happen quicker.
Was there did Phil Mickelson give like a Al Pacino Any Given Sunday speech before you guys went and took the Masters and started playing? Was there was there any group effort to say, let's go out there and do this thing this weekend?
No, not really. I mean, hey, what's known doesn't need to be said. We knew that there was going to be a reaction to our performance one way or another. And so, thinking about that doesn't help us shoot low scores. So at the end of the day, you get rid of that, those types of distractions, and you just go try to perform. And but with that being said, when I was not in contention, I finished 34th or whatever it was. I wasn't in contention, and so my last 6 or 7 holes, I'm still trying to play great golf, but I was definitely watching the leaderboards, just because it was fascinating to see Phil Mickelson, who is not young, and for him to play that type of round Sunday, greatest stage in our sport, it was remarkable. And so, no, there wasn't any type of big speech like that. I will say I'll take a little bit of the credit though, because we had a match. It was me and Harold Varner versus DJ and Phil Tuesday, and Phil had it locked in, and you could tell he was his game was starting to fire up. In fact, it cost me a few bucks because of that. So I'll take a little bit of credit of making him sharp by getting his game ready on Tuesday.
If the stories are true, you lost more than a few bucks, pal.
Yeah. Let's just say it was nice to have a couple good weeks on LIV after that Tuesday game.
Absolutely. So, and maybe this is the best way to ask it. Do you think there are 59 guys in the world playing better golf than you right now?
That would be a tough conversation to convince people of right now.
So, and the reason I ask it that way is because you're currently 60th in the official World Golf Rankings after winning back-to-back events on the LIV Tour. How frustrating is that, right? That the way you're playing isn't being reflected in the metric that a lot of people look to for who's playing the best golf in the world?
You know, I don't know if frustrating is the right word, just because I think it's gotten to the point everyone realizes just how not reflective it really is, you know. And so um, I think that's another good thing that's, you know, happened in the last month or two is people that had harped on the OWGR, the official world golf rankings, blah 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 blah. Like it's gotten to a point. It's like this is just so wrong. Like it's not even up for debate, you know. And so the conversation, you know, thankfully has changed into, you know what, how do we figure out how to rank these guys? How do we figure out how to categorize who's the best in the world? How do we try to figure out, you know, who's deserving of getting into the, you know, the majors, the mecca of professional golf, you know? And so um, I don't, you know, if, as you guys know in sports, it's like if I get frustrated what people think about me, you know, I'm going to go down a bad path if that's the case. So I keep calling it the rule of 67. Go shoot 67, and that takes care of everything.
Yeah. I gotta imagine also, like, whenever you made the decision, I know it wasn't easy and you had to look at things from a bunch of different perspectives. I'm sure some of this was probably built in, right? You knew that there was going to be maybe some wonkiness here at the beginning to get all of that stuff sorted out, to get the majors sorted out. And was that something you guys talked about in depth before you made the decision to go to LIV Golf?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, you know, we're shaking the system up. You know, this is literally the establishment is being challenged with all of this, and it's an establishment that has a bunch of powerful people, a bunch of big money, a bunch of big corporations behind it, and so when that happens, you know it's going to be a battle, and you know there's going to be some adversity and some challenges and some, you know, tough times, and that was just part of it. And you know, at times that gets, you know, you feel like you're beating your head against the wall at times with that. At times it's frustrating, but again, you know, we all mentally prepared ourselves for this fight, you know, for this battle that was going to incur. And so, you know, again, I eventually people are going to start stealing this term, Rule 67. You know, you go shoot 67 a bunch, you go perform. No one can deny it when you're performing. So at the end of the day, that's what we have to continue to focus on. That's what I continue to focus on. Man, you go perform, you go play good, and that's the best way to shut people up and change people's minds.
I'll tell you right now, if I go shoot 67, I may die. I mean, I may die of happiness just instantly. Now, explain to me, and I read a little bit about it, Talor, but explain to me what the hell's going on with you and being in your eligibility for the U.S. Open, right? Because from what I understand, they changed some language in the qualifying criteria, and it sounds like it screwed one guy, and that guy is you. So what's going on with the U.S. Open and your eligibility for that event?
Yeah, so the U.S. Open is obviously it's called an open because anyone can qualify. You could, if you want to figure out how to shoot more 67s, you could go qualify for the U.S. Open. So
Yeah,
it's
got some work to do. I'll get on it.
It's so cool in that aspect that like anyone literally has a chance to go compete at the highest level in professional golf. So it makes the U.S. Open and the British Open special and unique because, you know, John Smith on his couch, if he figures, you know, out how to shoot 67, he can go qualify and go get into the U.S. Open. But obviously, the U.S. Open, just like the British Open, just like, you know, the PGA Championship and the Masters, you know, it's a major championship, and they want, you know, collectively the best field in golf and the best players to be there. And so, you know, they have a couple criterias for qualifying for the U.S. Open, get an exemption to the U.S. Open so that you don't have to go qualify because, you know, frankly, the best players in the world can have an off day. And if that happens to be the qualifying day, you know, the U.S. Open doesn't want John Rahm to have to go qualify because if he has an off day and doesn't qualify, now you have the number one player in the world not at your event. And so they've kind of figured out a system of a couple different criterias of, if you've shown through your performance over the course of a year, we're going to give you a spot into the US Open because you've proven to be one of the best players in the world. And one of those criteria is on the PGA Tour. If you make it to the Tour Championship, which is the top 30 point getters by the end of the season, at the last term of the season, if you get into that Tour Championship, you are exempt into the US Open. You don't have to go through qualifying. And last season, I made it to the Tour Championship in spite of not playing the last 3 months of the season because of LIV starting and me being suspended and banned from the PGA Tour. I still had played well enough up to my suspension to still qualify for the Tour Championship. So I made it to the Tour Championship, which was crucial because I knew with all of the challenges that we were going to face with the world ranking system, I knew getting to the Tour Championship was my best shot at getting into the major championships, because if you make it to the Tour Championship, that gets you into the US Open, the British Open, and the Masters. And so when that happened, I was pumped because I was like, all right, this is going to give me a chance to play in majors, which every player dreams growing up of playing major championship golf. And so the Masters came out, at the end of the year in December, and announced who their field was for the 2023 Masters. And I was in the field, and it was, when they released the field, it was crucial because they label the category or the criteria in which you got into the field. And one of the criterias of how I qualified was qualifying for the Tour Championship. That was great because I was like, okay, they've set the precedent. If they're going to recognize that, then and honor that, then I just got to assume the USGA, the US Open, and the R&A, the British Open, are going to follow suit. And the R&A came out for the British Open. The R&A is the governing body for the British Open. They came out and same thing. They said, you are exempt into the 2023 British Open by qualifying for the 2022 PGA Tour Championship. And then the USGA, like you said, they altered their criteria, altered the wording to where it says now you get into the US Open if you qualified for the PGA Tour Championship and are eligible to play in the Tour Championship. Now, because I was suspended, banned from the PGA Tour, I couldn't play in the Tour Championship. And so they made that small criteria change, which, obviously was, like I said, it affected one person. No one else that had qualified for the Tour Championship was not allowed to play. And so, it affected me and me alone. And the interesting part about it is it's never affected anyone in the last, 15 years of the PGA Tour history. And it's a rule change that really it's never going to affect anyone in the next 100 years. And so that's why it was just so disappointing to me is, the other majors decided to honor what I did in my body of work and my performance, and didn't alter their criteria to eliminate my exemption. And then, my own country's championship, the US Open, they decided, you know what, we're going to change this rule and it's going to affect him, but we don't care. And that is just disappointing, especially because, I've played in USGA events my whole life, US Junior Amateur Championships and US Public Link Championships and US Amateurs. I've played in US Opens and everything. And so, that's what was so disappointing and frustrating is, man, it affected me and me alone.
Yep. I think that's they very easily could have changed the language as they did and said, obviously, this is how we're going to do it moving forward. We're going to, grandfather in Talor from last year's situation. That would have been the easy thing to do. That would have been the right thing to do. And publicly, I think even for them, Because they're getting a lot of pushback, and rightfully so. And usually that's the only way that they change these things is whenever the public really comes out. And I feel like that's happening. But if nothing changes here, is it exemption or nothing for you, or is there another plan to possibly qualify? How are you going to approach that?
Yeah, no. So I have the PGA Championship in 2 weeks, and right now, so another criteria for qualifying for the U.S. Open or being exempt into the field is if you're ranked top 60 in the official world golf ranking by a certain date, and it's like 3 weeks from now or something like that. And so right now I'm 60, and so I'm going to slide outside that top 60 world ranking by that cutoff date, unless I go and have a really good week at the PGA Championship in 2 weeks. So I have an opportunity to go and play some really good golf, and if I do, then I'll stay inside the top 60 and be able to play in the U.S. Open. But if not, then I just, I'm not going to be able to play the U.S. Open. I'm not going to go and try to do your traditional qualifying, for numerous reasons. But like I've said, it's hurtful what they did. And with that being said, obviously they don't want me in the field. And so I'm going to try to qualify through, my performance, but I've just chosen not to go and go through sectional qualifying is what it's called. I'm not going to go through sectional qualifying if I'm not exempt through my world ranking.
So what's kind of your reaction, right? Because I have a feeling some people read this, look at how it's only affecting you, and they say, hey, tough break, man. You knew something like this may happen when you went to LIV Golf. Like, what's your reaction when you hear something like that? Is it just like, hey, man, I get there's politics at work here, but it should just be about who's playing good golf?
Yeah. And like I said, I understood when I made the decision to join LIV that there was going to be, this pushback. There was going to be stuff that probably was going to happen that wasn't right and wasn't fair. And this is one of those situations, which again, like I said, it's not surprising in the least bit. But I was, you got to be hopeful that, the majors, the four majors can be the word I keep using is the binding grounds. They have the opportunity to rise above everything that's happening from a political perspective within the professional golf ranks. They have a chance to rise above it and say, you know what, we don't care what you're doing. We just want to have the best test in golf with the best of the best in the world. And they have an opportunity to not only, rise above, but also to create a product, create a tournament that's going to be the most intriguing for fans. Because like I've said, at the end of the day, fans want to see the best of the best. Fans want to see the best players, the best talent in the world, go at it, and that's what the major should be about. And fortunately, that's what Augusta, the Masters, chose to do. That's what the PGA Championship has chosen to do, and that's what the British Open has chosen to do. And so, I think they understand, like, hey, we're here to figure out who the best players in the world are, and that's by creating a field of the best players in the world. And we're not going to make this political. We're not going to choose sides here, because at the end of the day, the side that we're going to choose is golf. Like, we need to do what's best for golf, and that's having a place where no matter who you are, no matter what tour you play on, no matter where you're from, come play in our tournament. And if you're one of the best in the world, you're going to come play in our tournament. You're going to get a chance to go and beat the best in the world. So yeah, it's, again, none of it's surprising. You got to think eventually, cooler heads, reasonable minds will prevail, and that the majors will still choose to have the best of the best play against each other.
How difficult is the adjustment? Like, from playing the LIV event to going to play the Masters, was it hard without the house music bumping in the background and you're wearing pants out there?
Hey, it's the no music thing is definitely like the biggest difference. Forget the shotguns, the tee times. Like, the pants, like all that stuff. Like when we're sitting there on the range, we're like hitting, we're practicing stuff. It's like, man, like imagine being at football practice or a basketball game and like there's no music, there's no background noise, there's no, it's like,
Way
golly,
more
this is kind
intense.
of, yeah, it's like, this is kind of weird. Like, but yeah, no, I mean, hey, it was, it's not better or worse. Like it's just different, and that's why I keep saying like, again, I'm not saying that LIV is better or worse than PGA Tour or PGA Tour is better or worse than LIV. Like they're just different, and that's okay. I think when I'm
Like,
at
that's the beauty of
home,
it. People like
yeah,
variance, you know?
yeah, and like most people in today's time, like when I'm at home, I'm golfing with buddies, and I got the speaker in the car. We're blaring music, hanging out, and so I think I think golf is in a great spot right now. I think there's a lot of attention on golf, albeit some of it obviously negative. But I think it's a great time to be a golf fan because, dude, you got a bunch of stuff to watch. You got a bunch of energy. You got a bunch of attention. And so I think if we can, over the course of the next 6 months to a year, if we can figure out, as the golf world, if we can figure out how to utilize what we have right now and utilize this energy and attention and, you know, learn from the mistakes and figure out how to get on the same page as each other, like, man, there's an opportunity to get a lot more people watching golf into golf than what we've ever had before.
So one of the most interesting parts about LIV for me is kind of the team aspect of it, right? Like, and if you win individually, you get a big check, but you get a big check, right? If your team wins, go Range Goats, by the way, go Range Goats.
Yeah.
How different is that? Like, does that change your approach at all? Like, does it change how you play on the course? Like how you're thinking about your round? Like, how does that change your mentality out there as an individual when you've also got this team component to it?
Yeah. It's so fun. The tournament prep, like it's so fun that like the Monday through Thursday leading into the week, having, your team there and you're talking to each other about strategy and you're practicing together. You got practice rounds together. Like I grew up playing football, baseball, basketball. Like I love the locker room. Like I love having people in your corner. Like I love, having men that you're pushing and men that, iron sharpens iron. Right. And that's a part that I love about LIV. And when it comes to the actual competition, I'm out there rooting for my teammates. I want them to perform well. We're gonna, you know, collectively uplift each other. The better we are, the better we're gonna push each other. And so I love it. It doesn't, from a performance, like from my play and strategy perspective, it doesn't really change things because at the end of the day, I know, again, rule of 67, like the better you can do, the better you can play, the better that's going to help your team. And so I'm going to do whatever I can, you know, I'm going to do my job, not sound like Nick Saban over here, but you go like do your job, go out there and shoot the best that you can. And that's what's going to help the team the most. And if you shoot the best you can, it's a win-win. It helps you, it helps the team. And that's what it's about. And so, man, it's a blast. It's just, again, it's something different. It's something that golf hasn't seen really in this way. And it's just fun. And I think it's just another layer of excitement for the fans.
Yeah. Any way you can make the scoreboard more interesting to where more people are, looking back and checking up on it, I think is better, which, is really interesting. I thought the way the last week ended, it was you and Sergio and Koepka coming down the stretch, and the scoreboard is kind of back and forth, and all of the guys are starting to huddle around the 18 green to watch the way it finishes there. And I thought that was awesome. But the other thing that I thought was interesting, and this is kind of more just for you individually, is with all of that going on, the massive amount of money on the line. You hit the tee shot on 18, and I'm just watching you and Koepka walk out there to your tee shots, and you guys are laughing. I don't know what he was talking about, but you guys are like cracking up out there, and it just looked like you were totally loose, totally confident. That was awesome to see.
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, we're out there trying to do the best we can. But you know, some of us, like me, dude, I can't just be locked in for 5 hours straight, just grinding. Like Tiger for 5 hours straight is stone cold, right? I don't have that wherewithal, that attention span, that energy. Like, so I got to pick and choose my moments of when to get locked in. And so, you know, Brooks is somewhat the same in that sense. And so is Sergio. Like, that's why in between shots, like, you know, I'm trying to beat his brains in, but you know, in between shots, we're out there cracking jokes and hanging out and just being dudes, you know. But then when it comes game time, when it comes time to hit the shot, you know, we're locked in, you know. And so, yeah, in that aspect, it not really any different than the PGA Tour. Same thing with PGA. That's just professional golf in general, you know. I mean, it's just like in other sports when, you know, in basketball, you see, you know, Kobe when he would tap someone on the butt after he made a good shot and you give him a little smile. I'm like, all right, respect. That was cool. That was good. Like, so there's those moments where, you know, you're out there and you're competing, but you're also out there, you know what, game recognized game. We all respect each other and we're there to play our best, but also we got to take some little breaks here and there because golf's hard, man. And for 5 hours straight, we can't all just be stone cold locked in. So we got to take some mental breaks.
So one of the reasons, and I've heard several guys mention this when they made the switch over to LIV, is like, hey, it's less golf. Yeah, the money obviously is a big factor, but it's less golf, more time with your family, like a better work-life balance. I know you've got a kid the same age as my oldest. Like, what's that been like for you? Like, since you made the switch, like how's the balance in your life?
Man, it's been incredible. Like, for example, this summer, we're going. LIV is playing in Spain. It goes Spain, and then the following week is London. You know, and then a week off, and then the British Open. And you know, I'm getting a chance to go and take my wife and my daughter to Europe for a month. And you know, on the PGA Tour, you know, I just didn't have this much off time. So I didn't have, you know, with LIV, we have 14 events in a season. On the PGA Tour, you know, I was playing 25 to 30 events a year. I mean, it was literally double the amount of work, and not only the double amount of weeks of work, but the week work on the PGA Tour because of one more tournament round. It's just more grueling. And for me, that's why, again, that was a huge factor is, dude, I'm actually going to have an off season. Like, I'm actually going to have some downtime and man, golf again it's such a blessing and I love it, but it is such a grind. And so the thought of having some actual freedom and some downtime and an actual off season was so intriguing and absolutely one of the factors and reasons why I made the move over to LIV.
You know, I bet it maybe affects some guys differently. Like, for example, right now, you're on a heater. You may be saying, I wish we could play an event like every 3 or 4 days. Like, let's keep rolling. But does the space in between, I imagine on the PGA, it can be difficult maybe to work on your game in between. Does that help if you've got a little bit of extra time in between to maybe tinker with some stuff?
Yeah, and also like the week of a tournament, there's just more time. So like, you know, on the PGA Tour, Wednesday is you got to play a pro-am. Basically, you're playing with companies that have, you know, sponsored the event. So you're playing with, you know, employees of, you know, like Wells Fargo right now on the PGA Tour in Charlotte. You know, Wednesday there was a bunch of Wells Fargo executives playing with, you know, Max Homa and John Rahm and Tony Finau and guys like that. And So Wednesday is pro am day. So, your day is kind of dedicated to that. And then Thursday through Sunday is tournament, right? So you only have Monday, Tuesday, where you don't have any obligations. And so that's, the main time that you can spend working on your game. But, also you're having to schedule and travel after Sunday finishes, whether that's Sunday night or if you can't get out Sunday night, Monday morning. And so it's amazing how that one less day of competition is one extra day of prep on your game. So like, this next week, is Tulsa. Friday is tournament day, right? So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm going to be prepping my game. I'm going to be, on the practice range, on the driving range, on the putting green. I'm going to have 3 full days to work on honing in my craft, on sharpening my skills. And if you think about it, if you add that up over the course of a season, that's that compounds a lot over time, right? And so as much in the thick of the in the tournament week, having that extra time to hone in on your craft as much as like the time between, because the time between tournaments, you're also you're getting a little bit of R&R, you're taking a little bit of time away, you're kind of getting some rest that you missed. Like this last week I was in Singapore and I 24 hours of flying, I finally get home, and jet lag takes a couple days to get back to feeling right, and so the time in the tournament weeks is just as crucial as the time, between, weeks off.
We've kept you entirely too long, but want to give you the chance to tell any of the people that are listening how they can support your foundation, right? Something you started here in the recent past. I know you've got some events going on there in Tulsa for this LIV Golf event. So give us everything, man. How can people support what you're doing?
Yeah, so my wife and I started foundation, Talor Gooch Foundation. Go to the website, talorgoochfoundation.org. We have, Instagram account, Talor Gooch Foundation. Go check it out. This next week is going to be super special, super cool. Monday we're going to have our fundraiser golf tournament that's going to raise a lot of money for the foundation. It's going to be, just a blast of a day. And then the tournament week, we have a hospitality suite that's located on the 16th green of Cedar Ridge. That I think there's still some tickets left, so you can go to the website or go to LIV Golf, their website as well. You can purchase tickets either place, and all the proceeds for that will go to the foundation. And so yeah, man, it's gonna be a special week. It's been a blessing to start the foundation and see the impact that we've been able to make in Oklahoma for children, for junior golf, for just the Oklahomans in general. And so it's a passion of ours. It's something that I'm super excited about. I'm also excited for next week to wrap up as well, because man, there's been a lot of time and effort by me, my wife, Kelsey Klein, our foundation director, and a whole team that's been involved in getting everything organized. So there hasn't been a whole bunch of sleep. There's been a little bit more coffee than normal, and trying to get everything rolling. So it's going to be an awesome week. And, again, it's like I tell people, golf has been such a blessing, but again, it's just a vehicle for me to be able to help impact and make a difference in people's lives. And that's what we're going to continue to do. And so any support that we can get is much appreciated, and we're going to continue to do the best we can.
It'll be all worth it when you go out and shoot that opening round 67.
That's right.
Which, I got to say, you've been awesome. You could have answered every single question is just go shoot 67, right? And that's what I'll be listening for moving forward. That's the Gooch answer. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, hey, we are official members of the Gooch gang now. I love the t-shirts.
There we go.
By the way, embrace it. Just embrace the last name. Love it.
That's right.
You're the man. Best of luck in the event, and we'll keep pushing people to the foundation and to support what you and your wife are doing.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on. We'll do it again another time soon.